For those of us who were fortunate enough to experience the last years of gaming's golden age, back when titles actually released fucking functional, the topic of game length has come back into sharp focus with the release of the Order 1886, a game that can be easily completed in just over 5 hours. You already know how I feel about that, but I was in awe of how few hours of game time people were fine with. I spent a lot of time reading comments on threads and posts on different websites, and I found that so many gamers are fine with what I consider to be short game lengths. I saw tons of people talking about how 7 to 8 hours of game time is perfectly justified for a full price game. Some people even claim 6 hours was okay. I don't know when the fuck this mindset became prominent, but it makes me sad. One of the strengths gaming has over other forms of media is the amount of time that we've spent playing a single game, and the overall good value a game has over other forms of entertainment. A movie will last you 2 hours, and considering it's the same every time you watch it, there's not a lot of incentive to watch the movie again. The same thing applies to TV shows, music, and so on. Good video games are not only long to begin with, providing you with potentially over 20 hours of gameplay, but they can be replayed multiple times because as an interactive medium, replayability is much more viable. Alternate pathways, different options, and in-game challenges assist with this. But that doesn't seem to be the case nowadays, as games are getting shorter and more fucking linear. Gamers seem to be fine with paying a lot of money for short games with no replayability. The justification being, you can play on hard difficulty, or there's a multiplayer mode, or better yet, you're an entitled gamer. That's a fucking common one among the mental elites, and by the mental elites, I mean psychiatric patients. By the way, don't fucking say, movies are bad value too. I know that. That's why I hardly go to the cinema, because you get charged up the ass for fucking 3D and shit. I'll admit, games haven't always been long. A lot of NES and SNES games were short as fuck, but they were highly replayable. Fuckers replayed Sonic the Hedgehog to try and get the best time on Green Hill Zone. People replayed Crash Bandicoot to collect all the gems and relics. And games that weren't highly replayable were long as fuck to justify their asking price. Metroid Prime is about 15 hours long. How frequently will you come across a modern single-player game that lasts 15 hours? You know, I once had someone tell me, well, as long as I get more than 1 hour of gameplay for each $10 I spend on the game, that's fine by me. Firstly, most people outside of North America pay more than $60, so way to be considerate to them. People in Brazil pay $200 for games. And secondly, fucking seriously? $10 per hour is good value to you? Really? I don't give a fuck how much money you can spare to spend on games, but a lot of people have limited funds, and games are expensive. Ultimately, one needs to be able to derive as much value from the few games they can purchase per year. And when modern releases will provide you with less than 10 hours of linear content, with a lot of that being cutscenes, that's a fucking issue, because you're paying a lot more money for less content. This doesn't even cover the fact that virtually half of the fucking content you deserve is cut from the games prior to launch to be locked behind a paywall. These companies are selling games with less content than games that came out 10, 15, 20 years ago for full price, and they still feel justified in charging you more money for DLC and microtransactions. It's insane. It's about time gamers put their feet down and stopped accepting short games. And more to the point, don't fucking defend short games either. Look at how many people think 7 hours of game time is justified for an open world game. Damage control leads to the slow decline of all media forms. The more people damage control bad trends, the more likely people will start to believe the damage control to be true. Just stop it already, because defending less value for your money is fucking stupid.